Mr. Melero could not join us today because we're talking about commitment and he decided to do more important things. I'm kidding. No. No, he does have a family thing with Javi, and he's taking care of him, so he's in the road. But this is still part of the important behaviors that make a powerful team. So I'm going to be doing one of these behaviors, and that behavior is commitment. So I want to share with you guys a couple things. In fact, I'll start with this thing. There's this story. Let me bring it up here, and I'll read it. All right. So this is a story about commitment or just barely involved. Many of you have probably already heard this. A chicken and a pig lived on a farm, and the farmer was a very, very good guy, and they both wanted to do something special for him. One day, the chicken approached the pig and said, "I have a great idea for something we can do for the farmer. Would you like to help?" And the pig, quite intrigued by this, said, "Of course. What is it that you propose?" The chicken knew how much the farmer enjoyed a good, healthy breakfast. So he also knew how little time the farmer had to make such a good breakfast. So the chicken said, "I think the farmer would be very happy if we made him breakfast." The pig thought about this and said, "Well, yeah, I think that would be a great idea. I'll be happy to help you make breakfast for the farmer. What do you suggest we make?" The chicken, understanding that they had a little else to offer, suggested, "I could provide some eggs." The pig knew the farmer might want more, not just eggs. And that's a fine start. What else should we offer to this breakfast? And the pig knew the farmer wanted some more, so the chicken looked around, scratched his head and said, ham. The farmer loves ham and eggs. So the pig, very mindful of this, implied, "Well, that's fine and all, but while you're making a contribution, I am making a real commitment." So if we see the difference here, the chicken was really just bringing a contribution. They were just bringing the eggs, right? But at the end of the day, the one making a lifelong commitment was the pig. So, and these things to happen in business as well. Sometimes we think that we are involved and we are committed, but we're just making a contribution, right? So that's what we want to talk to you guys about. In fact, I'll start with a couple questions just to see, open up some of these conversations that could go on, and we'll open up to some questions. But I mean, like I said, in this case, the chicken is just involved, right? But the pig is really making a contribution. So what is your level of commitment in your life, in your business, in the organization? Are you fully committed? Are you merely involved? And some of these questions we're going to go through so that at the end of the day, we need to find out what we need to do in order to make these behaviors part of our organization. This is part of the test that we went over 2 weeks ago. And as we went through the test, we tried to identify where are the different areas that we can improve, right? There are behaviors that as a company we need to get better at. And there are some things that we really need to get really good at because in general, we're not doing as well. So commitment is the faithfulness and devotion to the obligations and duties of the company through a couple different steps. In fact, if I move you guys real quick here, there you are. Okay, there are a couple different steps that gets us to be devoted to the obligations and duties of the company. So the first one is dedication. So it says here, putting the needs and desires of the company above our own. So what does that mean? Meaning that there have to be some mutual interest between all of us that are much bigger than ourselves. If you are just in here for a paycheck, if you're just in here because of the commission, if you're just in here because you like the task, well, that's not enough, right? There has to be some sort of dedication that is much more powerful than your personal interest. It has to be a common interest. And we'll get to that and understand what that interest could be. But the dedication really comes from having the mutual agreement that we're trying to accomplish something greater than ourselves. The second one is the responsibility, a particular burden of obligation, reliability, and dependability, meaning we share these common interests and we make them our obligation. And in order to do that, we become reliable and dependent on one another. So, I mean, it's part of working as a team. And lastly is the loyalty. We become devoted to one another with dedication and faithfulness to commitments and the obligations. So dedication, responsibility, and loyalty are the key ingredients for faithfulness and devotion, which is really the commitment to the company. So here on the left, on the right, you guys can see that commitment is the act of binding yourself intellectually and emotionally to a course of action. Now, so I'll give you guys an example. Many of you guys don't know that I was in Bank of America for several years, 12, 13 years I worked at Bank of America. And I was given an opportunity. I was a personal banker for like 2 years in college. And I joined Bank of America because they actually offered really good benefits to help me pay for my education. And I wasn't really good at some tasks. Sometimes I would have to go on and work on the merchant accounts. And, you know, I was making mistakes. But at the end of the day, I was really good in sales. So they promoted me. I became a senior personal banker. Then from there, a good friend of mine became a manager of loan for the loan office. He hired me. He gave me an opportunity. And he just told me, look, you don't have the experience, but you are my first hire. So I was his first hire of a team of about 50 people. And I was surprised because technically I couldn't even qualify for the position because I didn't have the experience. I was still in college. I didn't even have my bachelor's at the time. So I was still getting my feet wet in the business and finance industry. But when I met with his boss, this was a really powerful guy, Scott Glass. Remember his name quite well. He's retired already. But Scott Glass, he actually told me, you know what, we're going to give you a chance. I had to write a really detailed business plan that then they use for other recruits, but they gave me an opportunity. Now, when I sat down with Scott Glass and Sonny, one of my mentors, he told me, you know what, all I'm asking from you is a 2-year commitment. And he was really adamant about this commitment because he was going to invest a lot of time in me. He was going to invest a lot of time, a lot of resources and tools to make me grow, right? But he didn't want to make those years be wasted. So he asked me, Luis, I'm just going to ask you for a 2-year commitment. So the time went by and I actually remained committed because of the opportunity. So meaning for me, the money was great. The opportunity was great. I was learning a new behavior, a new skill, a new position. I was learning a lot of different things in the industry. But more than that, it was just my loyalty to the person that gave me an opportunity that made me committed to that individual. And throughout my time at Bank of America, I saw, and even today I still see it, I've seen a lot of people that are giving certain opportunities to learn new skills, to learn a new trade. But then the moment they hear that the grass is greener on the other side, they right away go ahead and jump ship. And many times during my time with Bank of America, I saw this when people would be hired. And then at the time, the mortgage boom was, I mean, picking up drastically. We're talking about like early 2000s. And people were just hiring loan officers like crazy. Washington Mutual was one of the most aggressive at the time. They're gone, of course. Countrywide, super aggressive, hiring loan officers left and right, trying to take them from Bank of America, from Wells Fargo, from different banks. So at the time, Washington Mutual and Countrywide would offer, let's say, $20,000, $30,000 sign-on bonus just to go over there and take your pipeline over there. And a lot of people that were new in the industry, right away, they would get hired with Bank of America, start building up a pipeline, and right away, they would jump ship just because of a sign-on bonus. Then they would burn themselves in the industry, and nobody would want to take them because they were not committed. These were just individuals that were looking for their own personal interest and not really looking to build a lifelong reputation and a career out of this. So all I got to ask you guys is the commitment. What is your commitment, and to who? Is it a commitment to the company? Is it a commitment to a person? Is it a commitment to yourself? And all of these things are important, and it's crucial for us to understand. And so I'll move on to the rest. Vince Lombardi, he said, most people fail not because of lack of desire, but because of the lack of commitment. And that's the reality. In fact, that story that I just mentioned about Bank of America is a clear indicator that a lot of people failed because they were not committed. They were just looking for their own personal interest. And up until this day, I still have a lot of relationships of people that committed to a learning a skill, learning from people in the industry, take on mentors. And even though situations were not perfect at every single stage of our career, many times we have to face a lot of different factors bigger than ourselves and fight uphill. We remain committed. And those that just jump ship because of opportunities, sign-on bonuses, higher basis points, whatever, right? I can assure you, I would even be willing to give you guys names. They're gone. They're not even in the industry. So that's part of the behaviors that make a powerful team. This chart right here is the reflection of the test that we took 2 weeks ago. And this line right here, the behavior line, we call it, these are the individual answers that everybody went through, right? So we have 22 people that took the quiz or the survey, and some of them were high, up to 9, which is the highest level of commitment. And the lowest level of commitment is technically it should be a 1, but I guess somebody did not answer the question, so it dropped to 0, but it should be a 1. But in this case, we can see that person did not answer the question. But we can see here, for example, that in the behavior, what did I do? Okay, in the behavior, this one right here, the green is the app, which one is this? Hold on, let me move this, give me 1 second. There we go. All right, so the green is the problem. So anything below the green is somebody that we need to address a problem with. The brown reddish here is something that's urgent, meaning, for example, if this person had answered a 1, that would be an urgent problem on commitment. That person may not be fully committed with us or the company or to his own career, perhaps. And those above this line right here, the 8, they do not have a problem with commitment. In fact, they are fully committed, not only to the company, to their career, to their goals, but they're fully focused and committed. So this is just a summary, guys, to see that with some people, we may have to address some sort of level of commitment. With others, they're above the line. And then the average, if we want to really just look at the average, is this one right here. So everything here is where everybody is at as a company. So as a group, we are very close to the highest point, which is number 9. So I think we don't necessarily have a big problem of commitment based on your answers. I think personally, we're going to be talking about this and individually to really understand if there is a problem with commitment. Okay, so next we'll go through these. Do you feel committed to your business, to your job, to your tasks, to your assignments? And what we mean by that is sometimes we can't really tell your commitment, meaning we feel the weight, but the commitment is not something tangible per se. It's something that could be interpreted through involvement. And I'll tell you how you can tell if in fact you are committed, because there are really just 2 characteristics that tells us if you are fully committed or not. The first one is the focus, meaning if you are single-minded purpose, in this case, if you're focused on a single-minded purpose in what you are doing to make yourself better, that reflects immediately. If you are, now, what a lot of people sometimes may misinterpret this is that you have to be in the moment, meaning be present where you are. If you are working, you have to focus on that particular task. Now, some people may say, and in fact, I was told this when I started in the industry, Scott Glass in particular, he told me, this is a great industry, because I was just getting started in the finance industry. And he mentioned, just don't, like, give it all you got, but don't give it all you got. Because at the end of the day, you cannot sacrifice your family, right? And for me, my family was the big no-no. I'm not gonna give up my family for whatever success. But a lot of people say, well, you have to be completely focused and give it everything, but you have to understand also how much you're willing to give. So in that case, that's the personal sacrifice that I was not willing to make. When you're focused and you're really focused, there's a time for everything. So even in the Bible, it says there's time to work, there's time to fight, there's time to get angry, right? There's time for everything. But when you're working, you're working. When you're not working, then you got to focus on your lifetime. For example, for many years, I even worked on the weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, as I was trying to build my career. And then after like 2 years, I just decided to stop working Sundays. Like I said, I'm not even going to touch my phone. Then from there, I stopped working on Saturdays. And then up until today, by 5 p.m. on a Friday night, I try to just stay away from my phone and just be devoted to my family and try to focus on spending time with them Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, right? So that's up to you. How much are you willing to sacrifice when you're going to be focused? So do not sacrifice your family and loved ones for your success. And that was mentioned to me by Scott Glass. So people must attach meaning to their personal sacrifice. We all have a different meaning. We all have our own why, right? As a company, we have our why. Individually, we did this exercise a couple of years ago where you would just paint your tree of success and what success looks like for you. And what are the accomplishments that you're trying to achieve in your lifetime, in your career, in your relationships, right? All of your goals. But all of that is really, at the end of the day, defined by your why. So if you really understand your why and what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're not willing to sacrifice, then you'll be more focused. And being focused is, even if you're putting 8 hours a day, perhaps, to build your business, to build your sales team, to build your pipeline, to do your tasks, your assignments, whatever you're doing during these 8 hours of work, 10 hours of work, whatever it is, if you're giving it 100% and you're focused while you're supposed to be focused, then that's all you got to do. That's the sacrifice you got to do. If that means that, hey, you're just going to be blocking your time for 3 hours just to make phone calls and call people. If that means that you missed the day because you got sick and now you got to catch up on the weekend so that you're fully met with all your tasks and assignments, well, that's part of being in the moment, but that's part of being focused with what you got to do. So one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time said there are 2 options regarding commitment. You're either in or you're out. And I totally agree with this quote by Pat Riley, because there are a lot of people that are lukewarm. And even the Bible talks about people being lukewarm. I would rather have someone that is fully committed or that is not fully committed. Don't give me in-betweens. Give me somebody that I can read and I don't have to be second guessing or try to understand that, because that, honestly, that drives me crazy. I would rather know, you know what, you can't count on me. I'm not in with you, and that's fine, because then we're not trying to fool each other. We're just trying to be more transparent, and I want to work with people that are either in or completely out. If you're completely out, then just let me know so that I know where to invest my time, because then it will be a relationship based on mutual respect and transparency. Otherwise, we're not wasting my time. And we're not wasting yours. So I'll open it up. This is really only one of the behaviors that we're touching. We already did trust, we did conflict, and now with this, we're done with commitment. And I want to bring it up and open it up again so that we can have a quick discussion in case there are any questions. Anybody else?
Luis, I will welcome our friends David Baer and Julian Joseph to our call and training today. Latest partners in crime, if you will. They got their affiliate link, and with some good fortune and good communication, we'll may have some lead flow coming in through these fine gentlemen. So guys, if you'd like to come out and say hello, please do.
I think you're muted, Julian. There you are.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, good. How are you,
There he
man?
is.
Good, good. Hope you guys are well.
Yeah, no,
And,
thank you for joining us.
and I think Julian probably resonates with a few of those quotes since he's a ball player.
Ah,
So
nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Julian, based on your experience in business, what have you learned about commitment that you could share with us? Anything that catches your attention?
Here, I'm sorry, guys. Hold on.
Sorry to put you in the spot. I didn't mean to do that. I just want your input, man.
Here, 1 second. Honestly, with commitment, I mean, it's just about self-discipline and like you said, your why, talking about your why, and really just what you want for yourself, for your family. I think commitment becomes easy once you absolutely know once you know that answer for yourself, and once that resonates with you.
Right.
I think you should devote your time to your family too. You got to remember to be grateful for what you do have, and that's something that I try to remember each week, just to be present with them, right? But as long as you know your why and what you're doing, your commitment should be easy during the week.
Right.
good man.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Steve, anything you'd like to add? I know you have a great deal of experience, and you're also showing your commitment with us for quite some time, just like Sam. So maybe you could give us a couple of tips of what you believe in commitment.
Yeah, I think the one quote about I forget how it said it. You can have talent, but commitment is what makes the difference. And I remember getting into the insurance industry, and literally I had no experience, didn't even know what I was doing. And I think what helped me rise to the top is that I pictured a hall, and I think I mentioned this before to the team, but it's so true. I pictured, in that case, we could vest with the company with our stock, and it was a 10-year commitment. And what you mentioned earlier with your banking experience, people jump on and they all want what's at the end of that 10 years, but people jump ship. And what I found out was my commitment was that I pictured that hallway without any doors. And there's only one emergency exit door in that hallway, and that's if the company was doing something unethical that I morally cannot be a part of. Right. But if they weren't doing that, then I was committed. There was no door in that hallway. And when we got to the end of that 10 years, there was 2 of us out of dozens and dozens of people that were hired over the years. And 2 of us were left standing. And when we got to the end, both of us were realizing and living what everyone wanted, but few were willing to commit all the way through. And nothing's easy about the journey, but you know what? Nothing's easy about quitting and starting another job. You can't avoid that. But my advice to everyone, I've been here now for, I guess, 5 years now or more, longer than that as an investor, but stay with it. Stay with it. The team is the right team to be with. I've always, I tell our investors this, this company must be the real deal. If they take me as an investor and put me in the middle of the office, and I see everything. I see if one of our leaders loses their temper. I see how they handle things, and it's clean. So just stick with it. Take that hallway, and don't give yourself an exit, and we'll see you on the other side.
That's right. Well, thanks, Steve. And yeah, I mean, commitment comes in a variety of different ways. What I've seen is people are, in order to get really people to sign in for the commitment and give it all they got, there has to be the why, like we said, and we always talked about that. But then there are many other things and factors such as compensation, a good work atmosphere, a good process, right? The belief of the company to thrive and grow. And all these things are, it's almost like a chart of a variety of different factors that have to be all at 100%, right? That's where everybody would ideally want to be at. So they want to have the best compensation, the best product, the best processes, the best, well, life is not like that, right? Unfortunately, the reality of business is that some of these things have up and downs, and sometimes we face walls, and sometimes we have to adjust and we have to be moving. But unless we're willing to contribute towards making a better company together in all these different elements that really give us the full commitment towards a long-term goal, then if we don't do that, then we're wasting our time and we're disrespecting one another. Because the best thing we could do is, even though your commitment, for example, Monique's commitment may be at 90, Sam's maybe at 75, Steve's maybe at 60 in certain areas. And he needs to, in order to increase, for example, Steve's commitment, he needs to have better compensation. In order for Sam's to increase his level of commitment, he needs to have a better system that makes the process work better. In order for Monique to have a more commitment, she needs to have an understanding of what her long-term goal with the company is. So there are many ways how we interpret our commitment and how we give it meaning. But at the end of the day, we want to hear from you guys. We want to understand that we have weaknesses. We want to understand that we have flaws that we want to get better at in general in the company. And we're working towards that. But unless we have open communication, we're never going to get to understand one another. And we're really never going to be able to make all these different factors that I talked about be at the highest level possible, so that we could all be committed, not just because we are emotionally committed, but we are vested with like the pig. We have a lifelong commitment like the pig, not just a contribution. Okay, Sam, anything you would like to add just to close it up?
No, Luis, and I think one of the most brilliant things over the last several months truly has been your engagement on the sales side and in our meetings, and understanding the flow of communication. And the guys, Damien, Christoph, Ani, Adacelis, are at least comfortable enough to say what's on their mind. If we can't have that, we go no further as a unit anyway. So it's great to see that dynamic moving forward and propelling us. It's been so cool to watch, and you've been a big part of that, Luis. And sometimes you always seem to be in the background, brother. But I just wanted to thank you for the element that you brought in to help tie this together for us.
Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate it. And we're trying to do that in different portions of the business. I mean, for example, we're all in a battlefield, and this business is not easy. We know this, right? This is really a battlefield because many would say, well, sales is the only ones taking bullets. We're the ones talking to clients. We're the ones that are facing the pushback on the things that go wrong. Well, that's not true. Christine has issues with setups. She's got issues. Darla has issues as well. And she's got a lot of people fighting back and telling them, hey, we need to do this. Monique, Amanda, Tatiana, Sam, we all are in a battlefield. But unless we really unite in arms and try to make ourselves work better, this is the business that we signed up for. It's like we signed up to go to war because the industry that we're in, especially in the time that we're in, is not easy. It's not easy. It's a difficult. Sometimes there's battles that we have to fight uphill. But unless we really have the communication, then we know how to adjust and we know how to get better. So I commend you guys and for the work you guys are doing. But then I also encourage you to keep the communication open, to share these things that are worrying you, the changes that we need to make in order to get better. Sometimes we'll try to act immediately, fast and take action on those things. There are some other things that we may not have right now, some of the tools, some of the resources to adapt and change as much as we want to, right? But the biggest thing is just to have the communication on what is possible for us to do and what are things that we need to get better at. So I'll wrap it up with that. Anybody else would like to give any feedback or additional questions?
Yeah, Luis.
Yes, who was that?
Yeah, it's me.
Toshi, there we go.
Yeah, I think that one of the survey, and I just wanted to clarify, it's not the grading of ourselves, the level of the commitment. I think that the question was prompted and addressed and asked in a way, how do you see the team is committed? It's not the reflection of yourself. You see So it's not somebody grading themselves, the level of the commitment to or anything for that matter. That person see the HIS as, oh, I think that this whole team as a score is X or Y. It's not necessarily of the self-reflection. I just wanted to clarify how is the
Thank
question.
you, Toshi. In fact, I should have done the survey. I didn't do it myself because I was grading. I created the survey, but because of that, I missed that point. And in fact, it's crucial for us to understand that. So the test in itself is grading your interpretation of somebody else's commitment as a team. And so that explains a lot.
As in a team, not the self-reflection of the individual.
Right. It's not saying how committed you are per se.
How do you see as in a team?
That's great input, Toshi. And I thank you for clarifying that. So, and so that shows. I mean, sometimes we may think some other people are not committed based on their actions, right? Based on their, maybe they're just making a contribution, but they're not fully committed. And so that's something we need to get better at. Anybody else would like to add anything?
Ani, come on out.
Thank you, everybody. Well, in my opinion, I think we're all committed into a paycheck, but we need to understand that if you want to get better pay, better incentives, better anything, we need to help each other out and help the business get to where you want it to be within that business. Because if you jump around, you're not giving the business a chance, you're not giving yourself a chance to make anything better. So I think that right there, at least in my opinion, that helps out a lot when you're here for the long haul, you know, and you help each other out.
Right. I agree. And in fact, many people here, I would say a large percentage of the people that are a part of the HIS family have actually, and I would like to create a survey with the following question, where how much have you grown in the understanding of your job or your duties of your industry since you joined the family, since you joined HIS, right? And I can assure you, if I look at the names that I've seen the change when you came in, anybody, the amount of growth in the industry, the amount of education, understanding, knowledge in the industry that you have now has drastically changed and is building you towards becoming an expert in this industry, in your job, in your department, right? So that also has a weight in regards to the commitment, because if you give a commitment based on the opportunity given to you, right? That also has to be part of the factors such as the company, such as the payment of commissions, the salary, right? The compensation, such as the culture. So these different factors are part of your commitment, but one of the biggest ones should also be the opportunity. How much of an opportunity were you given so that now you are at the level that you are, but would you have been at that level if the opportunity had not been given to you, right? That is really the question. So do you owe some sort of commitment back to a company just because they were able to invest in you? Because we're all making an investment, right? I'm making an investment with every single phone call that I take from anybody else in this team. I'm making an investment. Why? Because I believe that you can grow, you can get to the goals that we all have for one another. But I think a great factor that a lot of people don't really add into the many factors of commitment is the opportunity. So just keep that in mind, please. Keep that in mind and analyze really within yourselves, how much have you grown from the time that you came in until now? How much have you learned, right? So, all right. Cool. Anything else?
Nope. Good thoughts out to Javier. And Christine is off enjoying her vacation this week. So.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, no, that's excellent. So thank you, guys. Let's have a blessed week and keep the communication open. I know we have a great week coming up ahead of us with lots of transactions closing, lots of stress and pushbacks and whatever, but hey, it's part of what we're here for. So the biggest thing is just let's keep the communication open and talk to one another. All right. So great. Thank you, guys.
Everybody have a great rest of the day. Julian, we'll talk soon.